A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And President Trump met with Prime Minister Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago today. Of course, he addressed Congress earlier this week. And joining us now to talk about the importance of all of this and obviously the protest, too. Joining us now is Ambassador Danny Danon. He was Israel's 17th permanent representative to the UN, also chairman of the World Likud, a very important organization. Ambassador, this is Rita Cosby. We're so happy to have you again. Do you know anything about how the meeting went today? And obviously, how important was this meeting at Mar-a-Lago today?
Well, Rita, it was a very important meeting, and the Prime Minister and the President, they walked in the past, they know the issues, but things have changed, while we are all following the elections in the U.S. at the same time. The Iranians are moving forward with their nuclear ambition. They are feeding the proxies with more ammunition and money. And it's a different situation than it was 4 years ago. That's why I think it was an important meeting, an important visit of the Prime Minister, where basically he shared the facts, but also the emotions of the Israelis that thank the American people for standing with us. But at the same time, we all have to realize that we are fighting evil force, a strong force, and we have to stand together and to defeat evil.
How concerned are you that there were so many Democratic members of Congress who didn't want to attend, who boycotted the Prime Minister's speech there in Congress? I thought and some with signs, with very vile signs against him.
Well, I think we want to actually focus on the bright aspect to see the support of the American people. And they understand we stand together. I saw those people, I wouldn't call them protesting. It was more like a riot. But, they were actually burning not the Israeli flag, but the American flag. They were vandalizing monuments in the capital of the United States, not in our capital. So I think overwhelming majority of Americans understand that we are together. They don't support those radicals. And that's why I think we have to be very strong, very determined, and win this war. That's what we have to do.
Ambassador, I was talking about the Democrats who boycotted the speech because there were some who didn't come, didn't attend the speech, which I think is disheartening.
Well, I think when people watched the speech of the Prime Minister, they saw that it was well received, standing ovations. And I think we have to look at the content of the speech. So if some people chose not to show up for political reasons, that's their own problem.
By the way, I thought his speech was amazing. And I thought also he made it so clear, as John, we were just talking, the choice between barbarism and civilization. I thought it was an incredible speech. Your reaction to how just the content, because he talked about this moment in history.
I think it was a very important speech at a very important time. And I think the main message to take out from the visit and the speech of the Prime Minister that we are fighting your fight. We are fighting your enemies. And our victory will be the victory of the United States. We now just saw the opening of the Olympics, so everybody in Israel, for sure we wish luck to the Israeli delegation, but at the same time we want to see the U.S. winning, the U.S. team winning. So we are together. We are together in all fronts, and I think we expect the U.S. to stand by us to perform the moral clarity of the American people.
Governor Patterson?
Mr. Ambassador, I was wondering why there is so much opposition. That was a really dynamic and incredible speech with quotes that could fill up a few pages of notes. But I'm wondering, where is the opposition that's coming from Israel itself coming from?
Well, we are a strong democracy, and there is a strong opposition in Israel. And also we have to admit that the situation where we have more than 100 hostages still being held by Hamas, it creates a lot of tension in Israel, and rightfully so, because, we want to see them coming back home. And I think the Prime Minister is doing everything he can to bring them back home. But it's not an easy thing to do when you deal with a non-rational rival like Hamas.
Ambassador, Israel has always said they will not accept Iran having nuclear weapons. I guess you would have a different attitude at it, whether it's President Biden or President Trump or President Harris.
Well, I think any American president should realize that nuclear Iran is a threat to America, period. Maybe they are threatening to attack us. And by the way, they did. Last April, they sent a few hundred projectiles into Israel. But when you look at the capabilities of the Iranian drones and the Houthis in Yemen, you realize that they can reach the shores of Europe and the U.S. easily. So we have to fight together. And I think I'm worried about it, Joe, because I think that the fact that you are now so busy with the elections here, it gives the Iranian more time. And they are very smart. I'm sure they will try to take advantage of what's happening worldwide now. And while democracies will argue about what's happening in our parliament, in your Congress, at the same time, they're moving very fast in order to achieve their nuclear ambitions.
I think our enemies, both Israel's enemies and the United States enemies, are looking, because of the state of mind that President Biden is in, they're looking to see what can we get away with while he's still president.
I don't know about that, but I know that they realize that the attention today is not about what they are doing, and I know for a fact that they are taking advantage of that, both on the nuclear track, but also spending money on their proxies and sending weapons and dollars to make sure that there will be chaos in the region.
And everybody, we are talking to former Ambassador Danny Danon. Ed Cox, you have a question?
Yes, continuing about the nuclear issues. Just where is Iran now? Is it that they have enough fissile material or that they can deliver a nuclear weapon? Where are they at the moment?
Well, I cannot go into details, but I will quote Secretary Blinken, who is usually very optimistic about everything in the Middle East. He said only 2 weeks ago that it's only a matter of weeks before they are capable of putting a bomb together. So they are moving ahead, and unfortunately, we don't see that there are enough sanctions, and they have the money. They have the money. They're selling oil to Iran and to other countries, and with that money, they invest a lot in the nuclear program.
You know, how concerned are you, Ambassador, like to Ed and John's point? I mean, this moment in history, I can't even imagine. One of the most powerful lines from Netanyahu this week was he said, we are getting it. He was saying, I think it's like 7 different directions, between Iran, the Houthis, Hezbollah is another thing, Hamas. Just how pivotal is this moment for Israel and America to really stand strong against evil in the world?
Well, for us, it's a crucial moment. We're looking back at our short history, I think we realize that this is the hardest time for Israel since 1948, that we fight so many fronts, and we're fighting strong powers. When you look at Iran today and their proxies, I don't underestimate their capabilities and their intentions. They said in the past, we have a plan, they call it 2040, to destroy Israel in 2040. But now they're actually starting to implement that plan. I can tell you that we have the capabilities, we have the determination, and we will block them and we will win. But it's not going to be easy, and we will need the support of our allies. And now it's the time when you actually test your friends and your allies. When you are under attack, we expect our allies to stand behind us without conditions, no ifs, no buts, pure support for what we represent in the region.
Absolutely. Ed Cox, real quick.
Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, they're all basically funded by Iran. How effective are the sanctions on Iran, and could they be made more effective?
Definitely, we need to see more sanctions. And actually, I saw that the Europeans are actually promoting the idea of applying more sanctions. I hope that this administration, we shouldn't wait for the elections or any change of the government. I think it should happen now, to see more sanctions against Iran. It will limit their capabilities to sell oil and to generate income to support terrorists.
Absolutely. Well, we are with you. And boy, thank you for fighting the fight. And we will stand strong with Israel always. Ambassador, thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much.